Welcome to Coast Guard Training Center, Cape May. My name is Commander Young, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for tonight's Sunset Parade. Training Center Cape May was originally named Coast Guard Receiving Center Cape May when it opened on May 31st, 1948. In 1982, Training Center Cape May became the service's only recruit training center. Nestled between the Atlantic Ocean and Cape May Harbor, Training Center Cape May once belonged to the U.S. Marines and the U.S. Navy and was an instrumental training area for troops during World War I and World War II. In the late 1960s, 3 500-person recruit barracks and housing facilities were constructed and named after Coast Guard heroes. Signalman First Class Douglas Monroe, the Coast Guard's only Medal of Honor recipient. Captain Joshua James of the U.S. Lifesaving Service, one of the most celebrated lifesavers in the world. And Captain Michael Healy of the U.S. Revenue Cutter Service, a legend along Alaska's 20,000-mile coastline. In 1974, the first group of women enlisted as regulars and reported to Cape May and mixed gender recruit training began. In the 1990s, the training center's recruit processing building was dedicated to Petty Officer First Class Charles W. Sexton, a shipmate who sacrificed his life while attempting to save the lives of 4 people aboard a sinking fishing vessel. Today, the training staff graduates approximately 3,500 new Coast Guardsmen each year and is committed to developing America's newest enlisted men and women in a manner that secures the trust and confidence of our service and families who trust us with the care of their loved ones. Our men and women also provide the highest level of support to our 12 tenant commands that includes operational and support units. We are guided by the principles of readiness, relevance, and responsiveness. Each Coast Guardsman understands the importance of our organization and has recited our Coast Guard ethos on a daily basis. The Coast Guard ethos was derived from the Coast Guard's capstone doctrine, Pub 1, and commits our newest members to the Coast Guard's character, culture, and core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty. The Coast Guard ethos provides the framework to develop a morally, mentally, and physically fit, more capable apprentice ready to meet the mission execution requirements of an ever-changing Coast Guard. Tonight, the battalion of recruits and the battalion staff proudly continue the seagoing services tradition of lowering the national colors at sunset, which will be signaled by a cannon blast that will be shot from the south end of the parade field, the lowering of Old Glory, and the playing of our national anthem. Band, sound off. Ladies and gentlemen, United States Coast Guard Recruit Battalion. It is my pleasure to introduce the commanding officer, Captain Owen Gibbons, who will offer his remarks.
Freeholder Director Thornton, General Pearson, Mayor Lear, and all of our attending freeholders, mayors, visitors, and neighbors from across the county, on behalf of the training center staff and the battalion of recruits, I'd like to welcome you once again to our final Sunset Parade of 2018. This weekend, as a nation, we celebrate Labor Day and pay tribute to the workers in both public and private sector who embody America. So it is our true pleasure to welcome you all here tonight to the place where the workforce of the Coast Guard gets its start, where our family tree is watered, where our culture and core values are perpetuated. Tonight's Sunset Parade is in honor of the people and the municipalities of Cape May County, a place the Coast Guard has called home for nearly 100 years, and their partnership in this enduring process of crafting a ready and relevant workforce that has remained responsive to the needs of our nation. When I ask recruits where their hometowns are, I get answers that range from New York City to Guam. What I tell them is, not anymore. When they leave here, they're Coast Guardsmen, and their new hometown is Cape May, New Jersey. And that's exactly what Cape May is to the Coast Guard. It's our hometown. Reflects a relationship between South Jersey and our service that began in 1924, when the Coast Guard first had a presence on this base, which then belonged to the Navy, and established air facilities for planes used in support of U.S. Customs Service efforts. During the Prohibition era, several cutters were assigned to Cape May to foil rum runners operating off the coast of New Jersey. During World War II, the Coast Guard increased its Cape May forces for missions that included coastal patrol, anti-submarine warfare, air-sea rescue, and buoy service to facilitate safe commerce through the Delaware Bay and along the coast. In 1946, the Navy relinquished the base to the Coast Guard, and by 1948, all entry-level training on the East Coast for recruits was moved to what was then called Coast Guard Recruit Receiving Station, Cape May. So our Coast Guard family's roots run deep here, and you can see why we think of Cape May the way that we do. We are not just the spotlight on the water or the helicopter in the sky here in Cape May. We are neighbors, we are friends, we share vested interests for the continued success of this community. This is home. So much so that the county was formally recognized in 2014 as an official Coast Guard community, one of only a handful in the entire nation. This designation symbolizes our long history and our enduring partnerships in a bright future. Now, I mentioned family a little earlier. We're also recognizing an important part of the Coast Guard family drawn from the residents of these same communities. And that's our Coast Guard Auxiliary. It's a civilian volunteer workforce that has supported the Coast Guard since 1939, when it was established by Congress. The Coast Guard Auxiliary has approximately 30,000 volunteers nationwide, and each year auxiliaries volunteer more than 2 million hours, conducting a variety of missions that include free vessel safety checks for mariners, harbor patrols. They teach boat safety courses, as well as assist Coast Guard units in search and rescue and maritime environmental protection missions. Here in Cape May, as well as most of New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania, approximately 2,600 auxiliarists with 200 small boats, 15 aircraft, and 200 radio facilities support 29 different Coast Guard commands, including Coast Guard Sector Delaware Bay, Air Station Atlantic City, small boat stations, cutters, aids navigation teams, recruiting offices, our Atlantic Strike Team, and of course the training center right here, through 300,000 hours of volunteer efforts each and every year. At the training center alone, we have a dedicated staff of tour guides, volunteer chefs, seamanship instructors that assist us in the training of recruits, as well as helping us to host more than 45,000 visitors each and every year. To those members of our Coast Guard Auxiliary family in attendance, we thank you once again for your selfless service. Folks, as I hope you can see, our partnerships with the Cape May County and the Coast Guard Auxiliary are important facets of our continued success in producing the highest quality Coast Guardsmen in our service. In closing, as we gather here together for the final Sunset Parade of the season, I welcome you to enjoy a more formal version of our daily sacred observance of the retiring of our national ensign, a process which will be repeated tomorrow with its rise to greet a new day, a tangible reminder of the ideals we protect and the people we serve. It's our sincere prayer that God will continue to bless our nation, protect our service members serving across the globe, and comfort all those family members who support them. Thank you again for joining us. Semper Paratus.
The drill team and color guard consists of recruits selected by the ceremonial drill master who perform at a high level and can learn the complicated movements in addition to basic training. The drill team carries demilitarized 1903 rifles and executes all movements without verbal command. So please hold your applause until the end of the routine. The drill team and color guard are trained and supervised by Petty Officer Allen. Inspection of the battalion this evening is being conducted by Captain Owen Gibbons, Commanding Officer, Training Center, Cape May. He's being accompanied by Cape May City Mayor Clarence Lear, Mr. Gerald Thornton, Mr. Mike Couch, and Mr. Jim Hans. Please stand for the playing of retreat and the national anthem. Uniformed personnel should render the military salute. Members and veterans of the armed forces not in uniform may also render a military salute. All those present should face the flag at attention, remove your hat, and place your right hand over your heart.
Battalion, present arms. Battalion, order,
The battalion staff consists of Master Chief Corey Wadley from Albuquerque, New Mexico, Chief Todd Brody from Louisville, Kentucky, and Chief Benjamin Hines from Palmerton, Pennsylvania. The band is led by Petty Officer Edward Burke from Groton, Connecticut.
ready, hunt.
The drill team is led by Petty Officer James Allen from Sacramento, California. November Company is in their second week of training. Their lead company commander is Petty Officer Christopher Karp from Millbrook, New York. His assistants are Chief Knapp, Petty Officer Dockery, Petty Officer Simpson, and Petty Officer Duran. Please rise for the passing of colors.
Ready, two. Aye, right.
My company is in their third week of training. Their lead company commander is Chief Michael Snyder from Brigantine, New Jersey. His assistants are Petty Officer Casey, Petty Officer Gunn, and Petty Officer Sanchez. Lima Company is in their 4th week of training. Their lead company commander is Chief Blaine Pearsall from King George, Virginia. His assistants are Petty Officer Lacoste, Petty Officer Buchanan, and Petty Officer Coons.